Did you know that the Colossi in Shadow of the Colossus don't actually have any names? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 155. My name's Gareth Brading, I'll be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. James Burks. How you doing, James?
Hello. Thank you. Great job with the introduction.
Very
good.
You don't know what I put on the introduction. It's just madness.
What do you mean?
Tell me about it. Tell me what my interesting fact is.
Whatever Google came up with first.
Okay, good. It's hard to find anything now after 155 attempts. Good. Thank you, James. And on my virtual right is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Hello, everyone. Good. Thank you. How are we all?
I'm very good. Very good. And on my virtual polar opposite is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How you doing, Paul?
A polar opposite. I like that. Is that because you're a southerner and I'm a northerner and all that kind of stuff?
Paul, I had to take some... Oh, sorry, Paul, go on.
I was just going to say, throwing back to what James was saying about your interesting fact. The thing is, it may be interesting, but are we sure that it's a fact?
Absolutely.
Because, there is quite a lot of doubt, isn't there?
Was that from you?
There's doubt from people with Google.
Before we start, I had to have a meeting yesterday. I bought a couple of coffees for the meeting for the other person. In London, I live, in case you don't know. How much are the coffees? Let's have a go. James, what do you think?
Each?
No, for the whole thing.
Total.
Yeah, total.
How many?
Just two, one each.
At least 12 quid.
Ooh. Paul?
So we're trying to guess what people in London will pay for a coffee, are we?
Yeah.
$1 million.
Good. Richard?
I'll say £7.50.
Ah, that's what I like. It's £9.50. Don't know who was closest to James with it.
Or together?
Together. It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it must be.
No.
Oh, God. It's not oat milk or anything like that nonsense, is it? With your vegan pizza nonsense.
Yeah, good. Well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna see what we've been up to this week.
Yeah.
There you go, thank you. Richard, you've been watching something interesting, I see.
Yeah, I went to the cinema this week and I saw the movie that everyone's talking about, I suppose. I went to see Cocaine Bear, which, as the title suggests, is a film about a bear on cocaine. It's based on a true story as well, which was a bit of a surprise. But the true story is that a guy was flying a plane that was going down because it was too heavy, so he threw all the cocaine out of it that he was trying to smuggle in. And then days later, they found this bear dead with about 40 kilos of cocaine in its system. But the film version is, rather than the bear dying, it just goes on a big drug-fueled rampage in one of these national parks in America. And it's all right. Like I think I'd gone into it expecting a little bit more in terms of a bear mauling people, but I came away a bit disappointed with the amount of mauling that I did see. There was a bit too much character development going on for my liking. I just wanted these characters to be brought in for 5 minutes and then be dismembered by this drug-addled bear, which wasn't really the case.
Wow. Okay.
So did the bear just spend all this time talking really fast? And
No.
Oh, God. It's really disappointing, Richard. I'm not going to bother watching this.
There was one good bit with an ambulance, and poor old Margot Martindale got her comeuppance at that point. But yeah, it was too focused on these characters that were all in this national park for various reasons, as opposed to the bear effing S up. as the kids would say.
Blimey.
I kind of fancy it. And also, I did... I'm not going to say that, actually. I'm not allowed to say that. Yeah, I can't say it.
Do you remember your days on cocaine?
All I've got to say is that I've got a connection to Cocaine Bear, but not in the way you think I have. But I'll talk about it in the future. I can't,
Is it actually based on your life story, Gary?
Yes, it is, yes. But maybe we'll talk about it in the podcast another time. But there is a connection there somewhere.
We need an After Dark podcast, possibly.
Exactly. Good. James, what about you? What's your week been like?
Well, I mean, a lot of football this week. You know, I was looking forward to the Coca-Cola Cup final at weekend. Man United win the cup, the first of many, hopefully.
Good.
And then, hey, don't laugh. And then,
I didn't laugh. I sniggered. Sorry.
You just don't get it, Paul.
I just don't care. I really don't care, James. But sorry. Anyway, carry on, mate.
And then I treated myself before Christmas, and it just arrived to 2 boxes of wrestling trading cards. So I've been opening them this week, looking for shinies, signatures, and Polaroids. So that's really exciting.
Good.
As you can all agree.
Yeah. Did you have fun?
I found the Polaroid. They're very rare. That's good.
Good.
2 shinies. Like good old days back in school.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, good week for James. What about Paul?
Yeah.
Paul, what about you? Has your week been as good as this?
Well, my week has been one of highs and lows, shall we say.
Good.
The highs have been, a regular listener to the podcast will know that I've been waiting for these special brackets to turn up from America so that I can hang the new access points in the warehouse. But they've finally turned up, so I've made a start on that.
I like the way you said, regular, we don't even know that. I don't remember that. Or maybe I switched off.
You know, occasionally you want to listen to when people talk. But anyway, you know, we'll gloss over that.
Okay.
I was looking for these brackets. They finally come. It's a happy ending. The other thing that happened to me this week that wasn't quite so good was I'd gone to Morrison's. Other supermarkets are available. And bought myself a bag of salad because I'm thinking I need to be healthy, got to keep my blood sugars under control, so I'll have salad for my dinner with some little stuff. Sat down in my chair in the office, thought, I can't be bothered putting the salad on a plate, I'll just eat it out the bag. So reached in, got a handful of salad, put it in my mouth, bit it, and something went crunch.
Oh.
And I thought, that's not quite right. So I spat it out, and there was what remained of a snail that I'd found in this bag of salad. And I can report that snails do not taste very nice.
Oh, my God. Poor snail.
So, yes, poor snail. All the extra protein. It wasn't so happy, to be fair.
No?
It wasn't moving much. I did try a bit of CPR, but it wasn't having it.
We are a gaming podcast for people who just tuned in for the first time, but we will get to that. We'll get to that soon. But yeah, it's good to find out what people are doing with the week. I'm just going to recommend one thing I've seen. It's called Fleischman. Fleischman, I think it's the name. Is in Trouble. It's a series. It's like a one-off series on Disney at the moment by FX Channel, and it stars Jesse. What's his name? James. Jesse
James, the cowboy.
Give me a bit more of a clue there.
He's Lex Luthor.
Oh, yeah, Eisenberg, yeah.
Yeah, and Claire Danes is in it. I'm going to say, first of all, it's a brilliant kind of sort of 8-part series about divorce, about middle-age and divorce. So for me and Paul, it's all right, we've gone past that. But for you two, it's something. So if you're worried about middle age, if you're in a marriage that's a bit dodgy, don't watch it. If you're single, watch it and laugh. But yeah, it's about divorce and it's about middle age, but it's really well written. It's really brilliantly performed by all of them, and it's great. I really enjoyed it, but quite makes you think. There you go. But we're going to talk about games straight away. I'm going to start because I got invited. We all Xbox Hub. I was just the only one in London. Got invited to see a game called Tin Hearts, and Tin Hearts is coming out in April. But rather than me talking about it now, I did an interview with the creative director, and here it is. Hello, so I'm here today. We're in this brilliant place in St Pancras Station in London, in the Clock Tower, and I'm playing a game called Tin Hearts. And
I'm here with. Can you introduce yourself, sir?
My name is Kostas Zarifis. Bit of a weird name because I'm originally from Greece. We're here showing off Tin Hearts, we're just having a lovely conversation about how much you enjoyed the demo, which I'm very pleased with. I'm the creative director on Tin Hearts, I am originally a programmer, but these days I kind of dabble with various different aspects of the game, I kind of cut my teeth at Lionhead, working on the Fable games, and back in 2016 we founded Rogue Sun, with a bunch of other ex-Lionhead people, Tin Hearts is kind of our first game, so it's been going on for quite some time. Originally it was conceived as a VR title actually, and so we went to Steam Early Access with a VR version of the game, we were lucky enough to bump into Wired Productions, who are hosting the event today, and we had a shared vision to bring the game to all formats, and this is almost, you could say, 'cause it's kind of like a reboot of the concept is kind of the same, but it is a very different sort of game to what we originally set out to make back in, like, say, 2016. So this 2023 version of it is bigger, stronger, faster, as I like to call it.
I always say, what's your pitch for the game? It's always the hardest bit, isn't it, to say? How do you put this?
Yeah, so the elevator pitch I use, so the shortest version of the pitch, because it's quite hard to summarize this game in a short sentence, but it's basically, we say it's Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol meets Lemmings, basically. So that's how we describe it.
I'm really excited about the Lemmings. Some people might not know, might they?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so Lemmings is a game, and I'm of that age. That came out sort of 1989, isn't it? Yeah, on PC, and I remember being sort of 17, 18, 19, 19, we just played it all the time. I think on someone's PC, it was just like
brilliant.
And your idea is you're guiding this group of lemmings
yeah,
to the exit, and there's all sorts of puzzles. It has that inspiration that I would just play, which is a great,
For sure, yeah. Again, kind of to go talk history a little bit with the title. Back when we founded the studio, we wanted to do something that. So we wanted to explore the VR space, because as developers, there's always the lure of kind of new formats and new problems to solve. And as a new team that had just formed out of, like I said, some of the Lionhead alumni, we wanted to explore this format, but we wanted to do it in a sort of kind of lowish risk kind of way, because obviously we knew that there would be all kinds of new challenges to overcome, and so we looked at something that hopefully had a proven sort of value in terms of the core loop, I guess, but hadn't really been explored yet in the VR space, because in VR from early days already, the kind of obvious things were being done, Lemmings, the mechanic of Lemmings, guide a group of not so clever things from point A to point B was not really being explored. So we were like, okay, maybe we try something like this. At the time, we wanted to put something out in 6-9 months, which is kind of amusing given where we are now with the project. So it was very much like, we're going to explore this medium, do something relatively proven, and go from there. And
you're guiding these soldiers, these toy soldiers, aren't you, through basically a level of is it safe to say like a Victorian house? Is that right? Have I got that wrong? The time periods, because there's a story under this as well.
Exactly. So as we were developing the prototypes and the vertical slice, and we started asking these questions about what is, obviously it can't be Lemmings, because there's copyrights and lawyers and all those things, so what is it? And we started exploring kind of different concepts, and then we came up, our Ian at the time, the art director, kind of coming up with all kinds of different concepts for the main character of the game, which is now the Tin Soldier, and then everyone really liked that particular concept. And then sort of around that, we started kind of building a world. constantly asking this question of, okay, why is it a tin soldier? You know, why is it a Victorian kind of workshop? And yeah, all of a sudden we started kind of building a whole world and lore and kind of a mythos around these these tin soldiers. And yeah, I think inevitably, you know, you end up kind of with any creative endeavor, you end up putting a bit of yourself in there. So yeah, quite soon we had this, I guess, concept for a story that we thought we might be able to tell through this, you know, what started as a kind of simple puzzle game. And very soon, as we developed this story and the mechanics, because very early on we kind of started essentially completely kind of weaving anything you do in the game. We're like, okay, but why? You know, it needs to make sense. So answering these questions, the story and the gameplay, the mechanics kind of started sort of, you know, serving, existing in service of each other, which is, you know, what we like in games and how we, you know, like to design games ourselves, you know, have that consistency in there. Yeah, and then that's why it's kind of a Victorian world. It kind of tells the story of this inventor who created these toys, the toy soldiers and many other toys, and kind of, you know, the events that took place, which I'm very spoiler averse, so I guess I'll leave it there.
Yeah,
you know, it's
exactly.
very much
it feels like it's gonna. Because I've played the tutorial section on the demo end, also a little bit of Act 2. I feel there's going to be some heartbreak there. I don't know why. We're not going to say anything else, but there's some. It's in a good way. It felt like I really enjoyed the little bits of story, the cutscenes I see, and it gave a frame to the levels and how you were playing, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Also, the sound is a really nice. The sound score that you've got has that great mixture of adding to the story, but also giving you that relaxing feel to it. Was that good? Who did you work with at that?
So Matthew Chastney is our composer and sound designer, which is kind of you know, mind-blowing to me. I don't know how he does it. You know, many people on our team, you know, we're very lucky to have a very skilled and experienced, and in some cases not experienced but still very skilled. It's a very good team, and I think, you know, it shows in the product. And Matt is certainly one of the rock stars, literally, given he's a musician. But yeah, he's an amazing composer. The look and the music is two of the things that get instantly kind of picked up on, which is great. It's very nice for that people kind of engage with those aspects of the game. But yeah, he composes the music, he conducts kind of the musicians, because he's very big on, you know, making sure it's all kind of acoustic instruments, and he does a lot of the sound design as well, like I say, which is completely, you know, not many know that it's a completely sort of different set of skills. You know, it's a very kind of technical sort of going into the game and essentially kind of conducting the soundtrack to the game, but driving it from the player's actions in an adaptive and dynamic way, which it's a very subtle thing, but when you're in the experience, it makes such a big difference. I was playtesting some of the Act 3 stuff, so the later gameplay recently, and yeah, what he's done there is brilliant, and it's great for us as well, because quite often we'll do something and it's good, you know, and then Matt will go in and you know, do his bit, and then you pull kind of the latest version and you play the same thing again, but now it has music and has sound effects, and it's like, whoa,
Yeah, it just takes it somewhere.
It's like 300% better because of that layer of audio.
There's a little bit of me that thinks it's not a comparison. It's like almost an element of micro machines there as well, when you're going around we're sitting in a very kind of plush living room now. Yeah. But you're looking at detail and using the sort of items of books and everyday items.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. And again, micro machines, that kind of.
But it's not micro machines, or it's not lemons. It's completely its own thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I guess what you kind of pointing out there, which is very much kind of again sort of intentional, was. When we started off as a small kind of indie team, and of course, you know, there's that ambition there and that legacy, like I said, from Lionhead, you know, we wanted to kind of still be in that sort of, you know, well, probably not AAA, but that kind of high quality, high production value kind of space. But obviously, you know, at Lionhead we were like 200 people, Rogue Sun is a team of 15, so we knew we wouldn't be able to do things of that particular scope. But we were like, okay, what if we, bring everything in terms of the scale of things, but then make it feel really rich, kind of give players the opportunity to really connect with these kind of micro environments, as you said, and just kind of feel really because obviously the gameplay takes place in this tiny scale. As you saw in the demo, is kind of constant exchange of perspective between the tiny soldiers and the first person kind of perspective that you play from, and that's kind of an interesting thing that I've not seen in many games, where the world is small in terms of it takes place in these rooms, but when you're down at the level of the soldiers, you kind of really get to appreciate the detail and sort of take your time being in that kind of small environment. So.
Brilliant. And so, how long's this experience? I think you said if you were going from start.
Yeah. So
it depends how good you are.
So we want to. So it's a rather complex puzzle game. So there's certainly kind of an escalating difficulty, and I don't know if you found that yourself in playing the demo.
I'm quite useless, but actually I got through. But it was a good frustration.
You did really well. You did really well, and kind of walking around, watching people play, and because you were in the Act 2 level within like 20 minutes, which is really good.
I'll take that.
But our kind of philosophy with the game is we want to make sure. Like what I say is leave no one behind kind of thing. So, because we see this where different people connect with different aspects of the game. Some people really enjoy the kind of sophisticated kind of puzzle design. Others really get pulled by the story, and we want to make sure that those elements you get to choose to what extent you kind of engage with these different elements. So there are mechanics there that will make things easier for you if you need that, hints and things like that. So I would say, to actually answer your question, I would say depending on how good you are at puzzle games, or how much you use kind of the help features that we have there, it would be anywhere between 12 and 15 hours. Wow. Basically. So yeah, it's a substantial experience. It's an epic journey. It takes place from the story point of view, over many years. And we wanted to feel like that to the player as well.
Great. And we're looking forward to it. And when's the release date? Have you got that yet?
Yeah, it's releasing on all platforms. So console, PlayStation, Switch, PC, Xbox, on 20th of April.
20th of April. Yeah. Great. Brilliant.
So very soon.
Really looking forward to it. Really loved
much.
that playing the demo there. So we'll see it all on the 20th of April. But thank you so much.
Thank you for playing.
And we'll see you later. We'll get out of this clock tower. Thank you.
Here we go, Tid Hearts. Coming out very soon. What do we think? Any questions? Have we answered it all? Me and Costa there just having a lovely chat in the room we were in where we recorded. We were in this kind of tower, but there was a bed with a camera on it. We were both going, "What's that for?"
Oh,
yeah.
hello.
Yeah. We were a bit worried. Yeah. So
You went with it.
Went with it. Yeah. Any questions? You need 10 Hearts? I'm just going to say
No.
it's a lovely game. I'm really excited about playing it. I really had a good time. It's really hard playing puzzle games when the developers are right behind you, because it's quite intense. It's like if you're on your own, you might just get stuck, and you're really worried about getting stuck. And they were really helpful. So just ask us if I asked once. I had one problem, but actually it was about mechanics. So I couldn't work it out to flip something around. But it's that kind of mixture of Lemmings for the Oscar thing, and it has that great kind of story in there as well. But it's more about mechanics of kind of like getting an environment, trying to get these people through, and it's just for the small bit of gameplay we played the prologue and the sort of like one of the early chapters, they were introducing new elements all the time. I'm really excited about it. It's really nice, really nice game.
Are you allowed to talk about what you played, like in detail or not? Because I wondered what kind of puzzles, as in, I know it's Lemonsy.
Hmm.
Is there anything where it needs a little bit of intellectual thought?
Oh God, no, definitely. It's really, no, sorry. It's not like you just letting the thing. You're really having to work out kind of the route. So imagine you've got like a living room, and it's like you open the box of tin soldiers, and there's 8 of them will start going. So you really got to work out exactly how they can traverse this kind of landscape. So there's things like. In one element, you've got these sort of like little, because it's set in Victoria times, you've got these Victorian drums that you can kind of place, which they can bounce off to get to the next bit. There's other bits there's one bit when you can actually, one of the soldiers gets possessed and becomes real for a moment, so you can control him. That will help the others have this sort of route through. So there's lots of little kind of great game dynamics so you can collect kind of little like, I don't know what it's called, like wooden blocks that you can just put in the path so it will redirect them into the direction you want them to go. And it starts as quite simple, but then it gets more and more. There's more kind of things in play, but really fun stuff's in play. I was really enjoying the stuff.
I've seen a couple of things, and it looks quite bright, and there's a lot going on in there in each environment, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And like you say, it's a bit micro machine.
Yeah, as in the sense of like that kind of like, this perspective, almost like that other game, the one in the garden, the small one with the Microsoft game. But yeah, so it's
Grounded.
Grounded, yeah. And you can, it has that kind of element, but it's got a nice story as well, nice little bits in there, and it's interesting talking to him about how that came later on. The sort of mechanics came first, and then he decided to add all this later on to give it sort of, they're a nice team as well. They all were there, which is hilarious. About 18 people there, about 4 of us at the time of the day. But they were really proud of it, really excited about it, and they should be. It looks really exciting. I can't wait to play it. What date did it say? April the 21st? I've got that in my head, but I might be wrong. Yeah, it's around about that time. But yeah, so look out for that. It looks good. Looks really interesting. Anything else?
No, I think you've answered everything.
Nothing. They did it,
between you.
Yeah, good. Right, good. Tin Hearts.
It's 20th of April.
20th, good thing. 1 day out. That's all right. 20th of April. Let's go to Paul, because Paul's been playing something that comes out. Is it now? Is it today or tomorrow?
It depends when you're listening to the podcast, obviously, but it comes out on Friday the 3rd. But the embargo lifted, as we record this on Thursday night, the embargo lifted earlier today. So I am okay to finally talk about playing Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. This is the game that I was alluding to last week when I said I got stuck on the first boss and the boy had already finished the game. What it is a new game from Team Ninja, and it's published by Koei Tecmo, I believe. And it's kind of a Dark Souls game, but kind of not. It takes the Dark Souls kind of experience, but then filters it through Team Ninja, because they make all these really good action games. So basically what you've got is a very, very fast-paced action RPG, if you like, where countering enemies' attacks and parrying them is a lot more important than trying to dodge out the way. So the reason I got stuck so early on was because I was trying to play it like Dark Souls, where you dodge out of the way of the attacks and then you attack. But you've in this game, you've really got to change the way you think. You've got to go and fight much more aggressively. You've got to get all up in their face and parry their attacks and then punish them when you do it. And it looks brilliant. It's full of great characters to try and interact with. The only problem I've found with it so far is that the loading screens seem to take forever. It's not an open world game like Elden Ring. It's a series of discrete levels. And when you beat a level and move on to the next, the loading screen seems to take 3.5 weeks. But other than that, the rest of the game is fantastic. The fighting, the traversal, even as you jump around and everything, it's all really, really good. And like I say, it's out on Game Pass on Friday the 3rd. So I recommend you give it a try, especially you, Gareth, given how good you were at Elden Ring.
It's true. Master.
These are the people that did Neo. How do you say it? Neo.
Neo.
Yeah.
Neo.
And Dead or Alive.
Yeah, and it feels really similar to Neo, doesn't it? It had when I looked at a couple of screens of it, it had that similar feel to it. Is that right?
Sort of. I mean, Neo's not a game that I remember. I've possibly never played it, but if you say so, Gareth. I mean, we all know that you and your facts are on point.
I like you saying it's a game that I can't quite remember and I haven't ever played it. It's like,
well, that's why I can't remember it. I didn't want to say, well, Gareth, you're comparing it to a game that I've never played because I didn't want to make you feel silly, but it might well be like Neo. I haven't played it personally.
Okay, right. What are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it 4.5, just because of the loading screens. If they'd sorted the loading screens out, it would have been a 5 easy.
We are promised no more loaded screens. Neil was right. Neil, when he said that's never going to happen.
Exactly.
Good. It's free on Game Pass. No, I'm going to download it.
It's free on Game Pass, yeah.
Give it a go for an hour. What about you, James?
Can we have a Let's Play out here?
Yeah,
I'm not interested in the slightest.
Oh, how rude.
What about you, Richard? Richard's going to be interested, aren't you, Richard?
I am, but I don't feel like I can play this whilst I've still got Elden Ring staring at me from the corner.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm with you on that. Yeah. But good. It's I think it's getting some nice reviews. It's pretty good, pretty around about what Paul's giving it. I think that's generally everyone's on that same kind of in that same place. Not quite a 5. They're not talking about it in that element. I think that's a general hype from everyone. So yeah, that's good. Another good Game Pass game to come out. Richard, you've been playing something quite big as well, haven't you?
Yeah. My review for Like a Dragon came out earlier this week. I've been playing it since the early access a few weeks ago, but I've not had a chance to talk about it yet. So Like a Dragon is the next game from the Yakuza / Like a Dragon franchise, as it's now going to be referred to as. And this one is a remake of a previously Japanese-only title, but basically with how well Ghost of Tsushima has done over in the West and the popularity of the Yakuza franchise, it's now come out in the West for the first time because it takes the Yakuza franchise, the Yakuza framework, and puts it into a feudal Japan setting. So rather than using fists for all your fights, you've got a samurai sword and a pistol now. And it really takes the basic framework of a Yakuza / Like a Dragon game and manages to work it into this feudal Japanese setting. It's weird, but it's like I don't know how you would describe it. So all the characters from the Yakuza game are in Like a Dragon Ishin, but they're all playing different characters because it's loosely based on a real life samurai from that period. But you're playing it, and the personalities from the mainline Like a Dragon games are identical to what they are in Ishin. So anyone that's got like a favourite character from there will instantly feel at home with these slightly tweaked characters. And yeah, I've gave it 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I think my biggest issue was that whilst the combat was very different and it did take a while to get used to, it's basically the same game but just in a different setting. Which for someone that really likes the Yakuza and Like a Dragon games wouldn't normally be an issue. But I think I'd gone into it expecting something a little bit different. But I think even story-wise, it feels very similar. Still mini games. I mean, you can't go to the Sega arcades in this version, but there's still these wacky mini games like there's chicken racing, all the casino games. There's a weird one that you do when you go into a brothel, but then you end up playing rock paper scissors with the women to try and remove the clothes.
Wow.
Wow. So it's just a Yakuza game, just in a different time period.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. I think that's.
I've heard, Richard, people are going mad about the farming element in this. You know, people are really enjoying that. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So there's a farming mechanic in it called Another Life, which basically takes the Harvest Moon Story of Seasons farming element and puts a Like a Dragon spin on it. And it's quite good. But you're not in the farming simulators, the traditional ones. You would go around the field and manually water them and pick them out and feel more involved with them. Whereas the one in Ishin, you basically just go into a menu and you've got your field there in a grid, and then you can farm it that way. So it's a little bit basic, but at the same time, the stuff that you're farming, you can then use to make meals. You can use that as cooking ingredients in another cooking mini game, and then it's ways to sell. You use it to sell, or you can use these meals as healing items. So there is quite a lot to it, but it does feel a little bit basic for a farming simulator.
Right.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. So, James, what's your first game?
Oh, nothing quite as big as these two. It's Pinball FX. It's a reboot of the whole Pinball FX franchise. And it's basically a free-to-play hub for all your pinball needs. You get one table with it, which is the Wild West Rampage table. And the rest of them you have to buy. It looks great. It's got 4K visuals. It plays really as you would expect it to. The physics are great. And there's loads and loads of tables to choose from Marvel to Star Wars, Williams, Valley types. But you can't import your old tables from Pinball FX3. So you have to, if you played it before, you have to buy them all again.
Wow.
So it's a little bit of a sticking point, that for me. Because, I mean, it's nice to be upgraded visually, but is it worth buying them twice? I don't think so. But the other new features are that you can kit out an entire pinball room and collectibles that you earn in the tables, which is, it's a little bit fun. I like collectibles, but you can't mix collectibles on shelves. You can't have Star Wars next to Marvel. You've got to be in their own little section, which is a shame.
Nice.
But yeah, and they've brought in a pinball pass, which is basically renting tables. So for £12.50 a month, you can rent all the tables, or for £83.50 a year. So you can play them all as much as you want.
Wow.
But again, it doesn't include the Marvel ones, which is very weird. It's weird to offer something that you can play everything with, and then go, but not that one, and not that one, and not that one either.
Is this a pyramid
yeah.
scheme?
I mean, it could be. I'm not in.
Wow.
Any questions?
Well,
Lots.
No. I've never really understood the attraction of playing pinball on a console, to be honest. I mean, things like going fishing on the console, obviously that's great, but pinball, it just seems a bit strange. But yeah, this does sound a bit like Gareth says, like a pyramid scheme. So I think I might I'll just be guided by you, James, and I'll be out too.
Yeah, I think it's right for people that haven't got any experience in the pinball franchise, because you can buy them all from the start, and it's not playing twice, is it? But if you played it before, I don't know why you'd really want to change over. I know Richard's played it before. Have you seen anything about it? Have you played the new version?
No, I didn't know that the tables weren't transferring over either. That has come as a shock. Because I know when they moved from 2 to 3, you could transfer the tables, and then they put a lot more new ones on there. So that is a real kick in the teeth, I think, that one. I probably won't be touching it at all now because of, like I say, I've got plenty of tables on Pinball FX3 and including a lot of the Marvel ones.
Yeah,
that one.
Pinball FX3 it was done the test of time. It's still so much fun to play.
Wow. I didn't know there'd be so much passion for this pinball game. It's great.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. Good. Right. Thank you, James. My second game is going to be something different from what I was going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Fern Bus Coach Simulator, which I've done a Let's Play of. Yeah, you can have a little Let's Play. Maybe James could put a link to it in the notes. He won't do. We'll see. Which will give you an idea. Fern Bus Coach Simulator is this European kind of like truck. What's that truck one? Euro Truck Driver. It has that kind of feel to it. So it's over 50,000 kilometers of motorway. It goes across 100 European cities, and you take people like across Czech Republic, Luxembourg, France, Austria, Switzerland, Belgium, Germany, and Netherlands. There's no instructions on what to do. So in the first bit of the Let's Play, I'm 8 minutes of me going, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't select a city where I want to start. That's basically it. That's down to me as well. But there's no instructions. And when you get there, you arrive at your place. You have to sort of like select from a limited your bus route. So I started in Prague. That was my home city for some reason. And then I was going to, I can't remember where I was going to, Pasan maybe in the Czech Republic. And that was my journey. Then you arrive there, and you've got your coach. You can get in and out of it, move around, and all the passengers are there. And there's no instructions what to do. So generally, I worked out, they've got suitcase signs over their head. Fine, they need to put the luggage. So I went and opened the luggage. Then you've got to check their tickets one by one and decide whether the ticket's yes or no, whether it's right or not. And then they can go in. So you've got a list of their names. So you do. And there was this one time, there were 3 people I had to reject because they weren't there, but they all looked the same. They were like triplets. So it looked like I was just really didn't like that group of people. So I didn't let those people on. And then you drove, and my first driving experience, because it's good. I mean, visually it does look good, some of the cities, but you are in traffic quite a lot, waiting on red lights. So in your gaming instinct, you get a bit bored, and you think, I'll just go around here with this big coach, and then it's chaos. You're stuck in traffic. You've hit light accident, heavy accident keeps appearing, and I hit the motorway on the wrong exit straight away, and I had to go down. And when you're on the motorway, there's no way to get off apart from going down the opposite way. So it wasn't a great first time, but I got better. But if you want that kind of patience of, driving a lot of people across Europe, it's great. And then people love all that stuff. Checking your passengers in, checking them out. But you have campaign or like a normal, and I played campaign, but the campaign, I don't know what the campaign is because it's not giving you instructions. But you get sort of like awarded some experience points at the end. I thought it might be a bit more, a bit more of a journey. I don't know. A bit more like you're building up, or you're, I don't know. Just at the moment, it just feels like, okay, I'm just going to select another area to go to and drive my passengers across. What's brilliant as well, I love it because I'm driving the motorway and I've crashed. I've knocked a police car into the ditch because I was going the wrong way. And it was a lovely moment. I looked round at the passengers to see if everyone's screaming. They're all just on their phones. This chaos is going around them. Oh yeah. So there you go. If you like a bit of that kind of like that big kind of coach, you want to drive a coach, this is out at the moment. Good. Paul, what's your second one?
Hello. My second game is one that I've been looking forward to for a while, and that's the expansion for Destiny 2, Lightfall.
Oh my God.
It released on Tuesday, so I'm just playing through the campaign and everything now so that I can write my review and give you my considered views on the subject. But I've got to say, so far, the new location is pretty good. The new powers that they've given you are also quite exciting. The story is not brilliant, if I've got to be absolutely honest. They did a really good job with like the Witch Queen, the last expansion, but this one, it looks like the storytelling team have like gone to sleep and they've just got the work experience lad to do it. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for my upcoming review. But so far, so Bungie, really. I mean, I had to write a special article on Wednesday morning because it was impossible to play the new expansion if you still had some of the old expansions installed on your Xbox. Bungie could not make their own software work with their own software.
Wow.
It's just typical. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a lot of it's not getting a lot of love, this DLC, if I would have.
Just
for the reasons you said.
I'm trying to avoid looking at other reviews because you don't want to be influenced. But yeah, its storytelling certainly at the moment is not a high point.
Destiny 3, do you think it will come soon, or are they going to keep going with this?
Well, they've got plans for this one all the way up to 2024 when there's another big expansion coming that's going to finish off this story arc. So who knows? Maybe after that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you, Paul. Richard, what's your last one?
I'll just quickly talk about Tales of Symphonia Remastered. I've not played as much of it as I would have liked to. Because I've been busy with something else that I can't talk about just yet, but I will be able to in a few weeks. But this is obviously a remaster of, I think it came out originally on the GameCube about 20 years ago. The JRPG, one of the best apparently in the Tales series. And what I have played so far reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy X. So you're playing as this guy, it's not a very likable character, and his best friend is suddenly whisked away because she's the chosen one. She can help bring peace to the world because it's being attacked by this race called the Desians. So she's off on a pilgrimage basically, which is where the Final Fantasy X comparison comes in, and it's pretty good. I think it's a remaster, but it's a very basic remaster. They've barely touched anything, from what I can see, to sort of improve the quality of life of it. So it's rather than it being turn-based, it's an action RPG, but it's a very basic one. So it's still essentially on a 2D plane when you're fighting. So you change who you're attacking with the shoulder buttons, but other than that, you can only swing away at what's in front of you. You can't change direction to look at something else without using these shoulder buttons. Sound wise, there's some voice acting in it, and it sounds all right, but it could have perhaps gone through a filter or something to sort of improve the sound quality. So the game itself is pretty good from what I have played, but it's just not the greatest in terms of a remaster.
Yeah, it's hard with the remasters because some people are really like Dead Space and I suppose Resident Evil 4's coming up. They're really up in the game for remasters, aren't they? You really got to come.
Yeah,
and Final Fantasy 7, of course. Yeah, so you've got to do something.
But then you get these ones that you just feel like, it's much more of a cash grab when they put that much effort into it, which is a shame to say that way because it is still a good game, but it could have done with a bit of a tarting up.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you, Richard. James, what's your final one?
Oh, it's a good one. This one. It's Road Stones, and it's a tower defense game. Ish.
Well, my heart's just dropped.
Basically, you play a mage. You have to move crystals around a level to wherever you want, so these crystals attack the enemies. And you've got to stop the enemies from getting to your base, or you've got to kill a boss while protecting your base from endless amount of enemies. It's very basic. At the start you only get 3 crystals and a few upgrades. And to get the upgrades you've got to go around the level and collect orbs. So while you're trying to keep an eye on the enemies, you've also got to move around and get these orbs. Because if you don't get the upgrades, you're in trouble pretty quickly. I mean, the difficulty is weird. I mean, within the second wave of like 5, you have like a massive enemy. And you've literally got nothing. You might have 1 crystal. It's slightly upgraded. And then, if you can somehow manage to get past that bit, the rest is just normal enemies. It's very bizarre. So it's trying to put you off from playing it by doing that. And there's only 11 levels, maybe 12. I think it's 11 now. It's how much is it? £4.19.
Oh, there you go.
It's a bit too basic for me.
Yeah.
And the orb collecting is just a pain in the arse.
Yeah.
I just want to kill things.
Yeah. Of course you do, James. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. None of us are going to be playing that game. I'm safely going to put my bets on the table here.
I was quite looking forward to it.
I'm going to see a Let's Play of it next week. Good. Right, that's the end of the game. Now, we're going to briefly talk before we go today about, we had State of Play, PlayStation State of Play last week, that we watched after the show, and we're going to talk about the main event at the end altogether a bit, but I'm just going to go through if there's anything you like. Richard, I'm going to talk to you first of all, because you are a VR fan. There was a kind of 4 VR games, I think, at the beginning of the State of Play. Did anything interest you from that?
Well, the one I'll gloss over it. The one that did interest me most was probably Humanity, which is coming to PlayStation VR well.
Yeah.
I really liked that. It felt like a very strange 90s puzzler sort of thing. I'm very interested in that, and like I say, that one is coming to VR. The others, I think, Green Hell. Did you review that?
No, I don't know who did that.
But yeah, that's got a VR thing. But yeah, even that the Foglands just looked very generic.
Yeah.
I can't say I was blown away by any of the actual VR announcements.
Yeah. I think PlayStation fans were kind of looking for that VR big, that big seller, because maybe they feel they haven't got that quite yet, like some of the PC ones that have been out there waiting for that to come over to this bit of tech, like Half-Life X, or there's other ones as well. There's quite a few of them, so I think they were a bit. It did feel a bit disappointing, but there is loads of stuff for this VR2 thing, and there's loads of games on it. Yeah, amazing, but nothing huge.
For me, it's still the Dark Pictures, which I think it's been delayed by a few weeks, but that would be the one that I would get day one if I did get a VR.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else sort of looks nice, and like Neil was saying last week, I think it's good that a lot of them have trials as well.
Yeah. James, what about you? Anything that caught your eye before we talk, or any of the things apart from the big one at the end? We'll talk about in a minute.
Well, in the VR there was Before Your Eyes, which is an interesting concept. When you blink and the narrative moves forwards every time you blink.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I saw that one.
Yeah. I thought, wow, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I thought, gimmick. Just VR again. Just a gimmick.
But that did look good. Yeah, I did like that one. Actually, that was my favourite one.
I think the story itself might be quite interesting.
Yeah. No, that did look good.
I'd say it's just VR needs something really big, like you say.
Yeah.
It has to have that big hardware seller.
Yeah, it does.
But it just doesn't have it, does it?
No, it doesn't. Because there's lots of great little... Like that one would be great. Probably a 2-hour experience, isn't it? So, yeah.
Yeah, and I did like the Street Fighter bit with Zangief. Zangief doing all the wrestling moves.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. I forgot about that.
When I saw that, I thought, James is going to love this. Big, sweaty men cuddling each other. He'll be all over it.
Oh, yes.
Was that your favourite bit, Paul? What was your... before the big one?
I did enjoy the Street Fighter bit. Yeah, that looked quite interesting. The bit with Cammy made me smile because I've been looking on the Twitter this week, and apparently there's quite a lot of thirsty blokes out there, shall we say? When Cammy does that stretch and Chun-Li does a similar one, and the amount of people going hubba hubba, it was just like, you do realise these are computer graphics; these are not real people. But I thought the action that was on display looked very good. I'm quite excited about it because obviously we missed out on 5 on the Xbox, so getting to play 6 will be quite cool.
Yeah. I'm with you on. I think Humanity was the best one for me. That looked great. I forgot about James's VR one as well. I think that's really good. Humanity just looks greatly weird, and like you said, it's almost like a strange PlayStation 1 game, but with modern graphics stuff. I think it's good that is it Tichia? How do you say Tichia?
Chia or something.
Yeah, the island one. That's coming to PlayStation Plus. If you've got that already, you'll get that for free, maybe mid-March, I think, doesn't it? And that looks quite nice. A little kind of island explorer. Looks pretty. Yeah. That's a highlight. But what PlayStation State of Play had at the end is a game that's coming to Xbox as well, which is Suicide Squad. So we had developers from Rocksteady chatted about the process and what they've been working on and how it's set in the Arkham universe. It's 10 years after the last Arkham.
5 years.
5 years, sorry. And we then got some gameplay on the city, which we saw the 4 characters diving around, hitting things, and we saw the Flash, because all the idea is that all the Justice League have been corrupted by someone. Brainiac, is it? Someone like that. And they're all bad, so they're all there to stop them. So we had this idea, and it was Flash. It was the kind of sequence we were looking at. Let's get your thoughts first of all before I lay into it. No, I'm not going to. James, what did you think?
I think it's a little bit of a victim of its own success in the way that Rocksteady have done some fantastic games with the Batman universe, and this is just such a far and away game from anything they've done before, really. It's a looter shooter, essentially. So it reminds me of what is that game? I don't know the name of the game. That game qualifies. It's a
Destiny?
Yeah, but the other one. Anthem, I suppose, as well.
Borderlands?
Not as good as that, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think the gameplay is lackluster. It's just shoot. Shoot that target there. Shoot that. Change your gun. Boring. What's the point? You've got these amazing characters, and you do such boring things.
Well, Rich is gonna do a counter argument to this. Richard, what have you got?
He is.
I hope so.
I fully agree with you.
My goodness.
I just think that the stuff that they showed, every enemy appeared to have a weak spot, and they were like, "Oh, target that," and you're like, "All right, let's do it again." And then the stuff with the battle pass, and there's going to be new playable characters post-launch. I just feel that it's going to be another Marvel Avengers, and I think it's been in development that long. It's almost got to the stage now where they're like, we can't cancel it now, or we can't change it drastically. And I'm really worried for it because I just think it's going to go exactly the same way.
Okay, yeah, good point. Paul, what are you with us, or are you against us, or you're with Rocksteady?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is one that I've not really looked at much. watching the jumping about and the shooting bit, I thought, well, that looked all right to me. But, you know, that's sort of right in my wheelhouse, isn't it? You know, Destiny player and all that kind of stuff. Jumping about and shooting stuff is what we do. So I'm not invested in the whole Suicide Squad, Justice League nonsense. I don't read graphic novels, as they're called these days, rather than comics. So, I mean, I was just looking at it as a game rather than being invested in who the guys were and this, that, and the other. And as a game, it looks like it might be mildly entertaining. So, yeah, I think that's probably about as much praise as I can give it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it did look, you know, dynamically, it looked, like you said, it's, you know, 4 players running around that whole bright city. I think my disappointment a little bit was they're going to really get on my nerves because they're going to say those catchphrases they've got. Harley, the shark. Maybe I'm being harsh here, but I think after a while of hearing that kind of catchphrase when they're jumping and shooting something, it's going to grind on me a bit. So, but we don't know yet, do we? We don't know where it's going to go. That might only be a little segment of the game. We might be doing something else completely. So we don't know. And to be fair, I think they showed off this. They showed off the best bits. They showed the best bits. But, you know, it could be an interesting story. And hopefully we're going to see a bit more of that as well. But, yeah, I think everyone felt a bit like, oh, you know, this isn't what... I don't know what we expected. Really.
It's not the next Batman game, which is, like, as James said, is always going to be the issue.
But is it going to be better than Gotham Knights, though? Which, you know, wouldn't be hard.
Well, Gotham Knights supposedly reviewed well, didn't it?
It reviewed. I think I probably reviewed it higher than anyone else. I think it reviewed. Yeah, I think some people were kind of like for, but more generally it got flagged down as well from, you know, 2s and stuff. And it had that similar problem, even though, you know, you're playing it on your own, I think, which I did, and then you can... It's fun to have other people in there. And I think these games are great to have 4. And they keep saying it's a single player and a 4-person, you know, online as well. But when you're designing games, I think sometimes to be 4 people, 3 people, you know, that's where the fun is probably, isn't it, rather than on your own?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So who's got 3 friends that can commit to a looter shooter like that? Really?
Who's got 3
friends?
Oh, we're your friends, Jane.
Acquaintances.
Colleagues. Charming.
I think the PlayStation fan base were very upset by this state of play from looking at it. I think they felt, you know, it's a bit weird that your main game is really coming to everything. Why is it not a first party game? And I think they felt quite, especially when Final Fantasy is coming out pretty soon, isn't it? I know they're going to probably do their own thing, but it was a bit. I think they felt quite a little bit disappointed by that.
Maybe they've got an exclusive outfit on PlayStation.
Yeah,
and then announce that soon.
Yeah, they've got to have something, haven't they?
Yeah. Spider-Man's going to be playable as a DLC character exclusive for it.
Crossover.
Yeah.
Given the choice between that and Starfield, I think I know which I'd choose. But anyway.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's coming out still. Is it end of May or June? End of May, I think it is, isn't it?
26th of May.
26th of May, yeah. There's a few games coming out in May now. Okay. Great. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Now, what are we looking forward to next week? Paul?
What am I looking forward to next week? On Monday, I'm taking delivery of a great big scissor lift that will take me up to the roof of the warehouse, so I'm very excited about that. Great. I have to make sure that as I'm driving it around, I don't run somebody over, because the warehouse is perhaps, 25 metres tall. It's quite high. So I've got to be up in the roof and messing about with Wi-Fi access points. This is as exciting as my life gets.
Good, I like that. Richard, what about you?
Next week I'm going to see Lamb of God, which is a gig that I've had booked for nearly 4 years. Obviously, it's been postponed because of COVID and everything. They brought out a new album, decided to cancel it again. I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but it's happening next week. Definitely.
Are they still going? Goodness me.
They brought out a new album last year. It's actually pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Really looking forward to that.
Great. James, you got anything fun to do?
Opening the second box of trading cards.
Nice.
No, he said something fun, James.
Stay tuned.
You need to put them on Twitter so we can see what you get.
Brilliant. It's my birthday next week, so I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to go on a bender for 5 days. No, I'm not.
Hooray! You can't go on a bender at your age.
I can't.
Throw your hip out.
Get an hour, and I'll be crying in a corner. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, here we go. Now, if we need to get hold of you, where do we get hold of you? Paul, where do we can find you?
I am on the Twitter, and my handle is @XboxHubPaul.
And Richard, how about you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and my handle is @Bobo1912.
And James?
If you wish to see my wrestling trading cards, they'll be on Twitter and Instagram, and my tag is @OKQKO.
Good. You can find me on GB Radio, Twitter and Twitch. But for now, we'll see you next time. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.thexboxhub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter @TheXboxHub and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.